At 2:13 a.m., you close the bathroom door, and there it is again. A quiet shadow on the other side. Not scratching, not whining, just sitting, waiting, 3 feet from a closed door, like it has nowhere else in the world to be. And here's the strange part. It didn't panic. It didn't hesitate. The moment you stood up, it followed. The moment you disappeared, it positioned itself exactly where you'd reappear, almost like it calculated it. Now, most people explain this in 2 ways. Either your dog is anxious, or your dog just loves you that much. Both sound right. Both feel comforting. But here's the truth most people miss. Neither of those explanations actually explains what's happening. Because after years of research into this exact behavior, scientists came to a conclusion that changes everything. Your dog isn't following you because it needs you. It's following you because it becomes more capable when you're around. And once you see it that way, that quiet figure outside your door stops looking needy and starts looking intentional. If that already shifts how you see your dog a little, comment "I see it" below. Because this goes deeper than most people expect. There's actually a name for dogs like this. They're called Velcro dogs. And at first, that label sounds like a problem, like something went wrong, like maybe your dog didn't develop independence properly. But here's where it gets interesting. In 2013, researchers at a canine cognition lab in Vienna ran a deceptively simple experiment. They gave dogs a puzzle, a food dispensing toy that they couldn't solve. No matter how hard they tried, it wouldn't open. Then, they changed just one thing. Sometimes the owner stayed in the room, sometimes they left. Same puzzle, same dog, different result. When the owner stayed, the dogs kept trying. They persisted, explored, stayed engaged, even when nothing was working. But the moment the owner left, they gave up faster, lost interest, walked away. Now, here's the part that really matters. The researchers added a stranger into the room. Same setup, same puzzle, but this time, a human was still there. And you'd think that would help, right? It didn't. The stranger had zero effect. No extra motivation, no persistence, nothing. Which leads to one of the most important insights in dog behavior. It's not human presence that changes your dog, it's your presence. Scientists call this the secure base effect, and it's something you've probably seen before, just not in dogs. Imagine a small child at a playground. They don't cling to the parent the entire time. They run, they explore, they fall, they try again. But every few seconds, they look back. Not because they're afraid, but because that one person standing there makes the entire world feel safe enough to explore. That's what your dog is doing. Not clinging, anchoring. The reason your dog follows you from room to room isn't because it can't function without you. It's because with you nearby, it functions better. And here's what most people never realize. Dogs without any separation anxiety still show this behavior. This isn't a disorder, it's a design. But wait, it gets even more precise than that. Because there's another layer happening underneath this behavior. And once you notice it, you can't unsee it. Every time your dog encounters something unfamiliar, a weird noise, a strange object, a sudden movement, it does something almost automatic. It looks at you, not randomly, not casually, intentionally. In one study, researchers set up something simple, but weird, a fan, covered in green streamers, unfamiliar, slightly unsettling, and they observed how dogs reacted. Out of all the dogs tested, 83% did the same thing. They looked at the object, then immediately turned to their owner. And here's the part that changes everything. What they did next depended entirely on the owner's face. If the owner looked calm, the dog approached. If the owner looked uneasy, the dog backed off. This behavior has a name, referential looking. Your dog is using you as a live, emotional search engine, a real-time guide to the world. Think about that. Your facial expression literally shapes your dog's decisions. So now ask yourself, if your dog needs to see you to do this, what does it have to do? Stay close, follow you, maintain visual access. Suddenly, that clingy behavior starts looking a lot more like strategy, because it is. Your dog isn't just following your body, it's maintaining connection to its primary source of information. And if you're enjoying this kind of insight so far, comment more so I know to keep going deeper in future videos. Now here's where things get even more fascinating. In homes with multiple people, dogs don't follow everyone equally. There's almost always one person they choose. And it's not random. It's not just favorite human in a sentimental sense. It's predictive. Dogs tend to follow the person who is most reliably connected to meaningful events. The one who grabs the leash, opens the fridge, initiates movement, creates change. Because to a dog, movement equals possibility. So when you stand up and walk into another room, your dog isn't just thinking, "Oh, I love them." It's thinking something might happen. It's tracking probability, anticipating outcomes, staying close to the source of change. And in unfamiliar environments, this behavior becomes even stronger. In a more recent study, dogs were shown how to complete a task, but the humans intentionally added unnecessary steps, extra movements, longer routes, things the dogs didn't need to copy, and yet they copied them anyway, even when they already knew a faster way. Why? Because in uncertain situations, following the human becomes the safest strategy. Not the fastest, not the most efficient, the safest. Which means something very important. Following you isn't weakness. It's intelligent uncertainty management. Now here's the part that most people never hear about. This behavior might actually be written into your dog's DNA. In 2017, researchers identified something unusual. 2 genes found in domestic dogs. Genes that don't show up the same way in wolves, but do show up in humans. And when these genes are altered in humans, they're linked to a condition known for one defining trait: extreme sociability, an almost irresistible drive to connect, to approach, to stay close, without the usual caution most animals have. In other words, a biological pull toward relationship. So what does that mean for your dog? It means the instinct to follow you, to stay near you, to not let you disappear around a corner, isn't just learned behavior. It's inherited, selected over thousands of years. Dogs weren't just bred to hunt or guard or herd. They were selected for one powerful trait: the desire to stay close to humans and feel good doing it. So when your dog waits outside the bathroom door, that's not a flaw, that's history. But let's clear up something important, because this is where people get confused. There's a difference between a Velcro dog and a dog with separation anxiety. They can look similar, but they are not the same. Research has shown something surprising. Dogs diagnosed with separation anxiety don't actually spend more time near their owners at home than normal dogs. Let that sink in. Following you everywhere is not a symptom of a disorder. So how do you tell the difference? It's simple. A Velcro dog can relax when you're home, can settle in another room, chooses to follow, but doesn't panic when it can't. A dog with separation anxiety cannot disengage, doesn't calm down after reaching you, shows distress, even during very short separations. One is connection, the other is distress. 2 completely different systems, 2 completely different meanings. So now let's go back to that moment. You, standing behind a closed bathroom door, and your dog sitting quietly outside. Here's what's actually happening. It has positioned itself at the point of highest sensory access. It's monitoring you, tracking movement, listening for cues. It has spent months, maybe years, building a mental model of you as the most reliable predictor of what matters in its world. And the pull it feels to stay close? That's not insecurity. That's not dependency. That's design. Your dog isn't thinking, I can't be alone. It's thinking, this is where the world makes sense. And here's the part that hits a little deeper. Out of everything in its environment, every sound, every scent, every moving object, you are the most important signal it has, the most useful, the most trusted, the most worth following. So now that shadow at your heels isn't there because something went wrong. It's there because everything went exactly right. And if you've ever felt like your dog follows one person more than anyone else, comment who it is. I'm curious if the pattern holds. Because once you understand this, you don't just see your dog differently, you feel it differently. That quiet presence behind you, that soft set of footsteps from room to room, that patient wait outside a closed door. It's not noise. It's not habit. It's not even just love. It's something far more precise. It's trust turned into behavior.